Hey guys, this is Mistress Nightmare here, and today we'll be reading the final chapter of I Kill For You, a Jeff the Killer love story. Before we get started, please hit that like button, comment, subscribe to this channel if you guys want more creepypasta fanfictions out there. Until then, let's get started. Allison's point of view. I woke up in a bright room. It took me a while for my eyes to adjust with the light, but they finally did. I sat up and looked around. It looked like I was in the hospital. I looked to my left to see a monitor that was tracking my heart rate and an IV. How did I end up here? I asked myself. What happened to Jeff and Lou? And most importantly, what happened to me? Just then, a doctor came in and looked at me. Ah, you're awake, he said, coming closer to me. It's about time. I was getting worried. What happened to me? I asked. The police found you in a factory. Or a fraternity home in a pool of blood. You are lucky to be alive. How long have I been out? He stayed silent when I asked, how long have I been asleep? I repeated. He sighed and said, 2 years. Flashback. Jeff and Lou were out the night and I was in my room fast asleep. I woke up around 2 in the morning, but they hadn't came back yet. I was thirsty as ever. I got out of my room and walked to the kitchen. Once I poured myself a glass of orange juice, I started heading back to my room. Suddenly, I felt something covering my mouth. I felt panic, a piercing pain in my stomach as I looked down to see a knife sticking out of my stomach, blood soaking through my pajamas. Sure, the knife was pulled out by whoever stabbed me. I started to feel dizzy. I spun around and slammed the glass into my attacker's face. The cup was shattered on impact, and the person let out a high-pitched scream that the neighbors who would definitely hear. I fell to my knees to the floor as my vision became blurry. I looked at my attacker, but because of my failing vision, I couldn't see their face. I could tell it was a woman. She ran out of the back door as I laid on the floor bleeding out. Darkness started to take over me as I whispered my last words that no one would hear. Jeff, this isn't your fault. Jeff's point of view. I was holding her in my arms. She was still breathing, but I could tell that she was running out of time. I'm so sorry. Listen, I whispered as tears poured from my eyes like waterfalls. I'm so sorry. I felt the same pain that I felt when I realized that I killed my parents. I heard police sirens coming closer. I felt Lou put his hand on my shoulder. Jeff, I'm sorry, but we have to go. I nodded and gave Allison one last kiss before placing her down on the floor gently. Lou and I went out through the back door before the cop showed up. They found Allison and took her to the hospital. She may live, but if she doesn't, I will never love again. I kept coming back. Even after 2 years, I keep going back to the same house. I didn't know why because of the memories I had of Allison, but something kept drawing me back there. Even though that someone was coming into the house, I didn't want anyone but me, Lou, here to enter here. So if anyone comes in, I kill them. They're not welcome here. They are not welcome here ever. Allison's point of view. I rushed into a new closet that the new clothes that the nurse brought me. Jeff flooded my entire mind. The nurse gave me a pair of blue jeans and a black bra and panties and a purple shirt, a pair of black shoes and a blue hoodie. Once I was dressed, I rushed out of the hospital and caught a bus and that went to the campus. I ran Once there, I ran into the house I was staying before my attempted murder. I reached the house trying to catch my breath. After a few minutes of panting, I tried the door. Thankfully, it was unlocked. Going inside, everything was in place, nothing out of order. It was almost perfect. I slowly walked down the hall that led to my room. I opened the door and stepped inside. My room was clean, my bed was made, and the items on the desk were neat. It was like I never left. "No one is welcome here," I heard a voice say. Suddenly, my back, I turned to him. Probably he doesn't recognize me. Before he could finish, I turned around. I looked at him. He dropped his knife at the moment he saw my face. He looked the same, only his eyes were bloodshot from the tears that were pouring down from his eyes. Now listen. It was barely audible, but I could hear it past his lips that were starting to tremble. As soon as slowly he came closer to me. I didn't say anything. There was nothing to say, at least not yet. Now we were face to face. Slowly, I placing his hands on my face, as he was acting. If he did it too fast or too rough, I will break. I felt his soft, leather-like skin on my own cheek and rubbed it, and I smiled at him. At a moment, he pulled me into a hug and started kissing all over my neck and face. He didn't take stop this until 10 minutes before burying his head in my neck, and he was still crying. I couldn't blame him. I felt some tears welled up into my eyes. "I am so sorry, Allison," he said. "I should have been there. I should have been there to protect you." "Jeff," I said softly, "it's okay. You can't change what happened in the past. I'm here, and that's all that matters. I am not going anywhere, and I love you, and I love you too." He pulled away and looked at me. We both smiled at each other. He started to lean in, and I followed. Our lips met in a long wait and much needed kiss. Our lips moved in sync before slowly pulling apart. "I love you so much," he said. "And I love you too," I replied. Time skip. "Jeff, where are we going?" I giggled as he carried me into the woods bridal style. "You'll see, baby," he said. Soon we came into a house that was much bigger than the one we used to stay in. We went inside and Jeff called out for Lou as soon as he came downstairs and got a big smile on his face when he saw me. "Allison," he said as we gave each other a big hug. An hour passed as I caught up with the two, and it seemed like well past midnight. Everyone, including me, were pretty tired. Jeff showed me to his room. It was with gray walls and a queen-size bed, mattress with black blankets. Jeff and I lay down, cuddled up to each other. "I love you so much, Jeff," I whispered, "and I love you too, Allison," he replied. Soon we fell asleep in each other's arms within a moment.